The Jets deliver the topic of the week again. And the Bills respond with a really interesting move of their own. So some jockeying with the wide receivers in the NFL. Our week 7 picks to come. It's getting better. That's the good news. Still not great. Breaking news from college basketball. I was very surprised with a head coaching retire. We will get into why Tony Bennett is calling it a career at UVA.
Yeah, very surprising. I mean, I got the alert on my phone, and if you gave me 10 other names, I would have been less surprised.
We're deep into the ALCS and NLCS. Aaron Judge is alive and somewhat well. Let's go. It's Onorato and Miller.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Marcella's, Bev's, Novice, Performance Industrial with us every single week here on Onorato and Miller. All right, Ash, the news of the week. Last week, it was the Jets firing Robert Saleh. This week, it's the Jets acquiring Aaron Rodgers' buddy Davante Adams. And the Bills get Amari Cooper. Both, I think, very good moves.
Yeah.
Does one have a greater impact in your mind than the other?
Yeah, I think they're both really good moves. I think I'm going to say Cooper does more because the Bills don't really have a big name receiver, whereas the Jets feel like their receiving crew is pretty talented in Garrett Wilson. And obviously Allen Lazard is not a superstar, but they don't lack for receivers. And we kind of talked about that. Like, you put Davante Adams in and somebody has to come out who's playing reasonably well this year for the New York Jets. That's not the case necessarily for the Bills, who cut Marquez Valdez-Scantling and signed
traded for Cooper.
Traded for Amari Cooper. So I like it better for the Bills. I just think that it adds maybe that dynamic receiver that they didn't have and lost. Like, you get no Stephon Diggs, no Gabe Davis, and to bring in that big guy. Cooper hasn't done a lot this season, but neither have the Browns. So it's been
basically
like,
me throwing the ball in Cleveland. So our buddy Billy Blake wants to know more receiving yards and touchdowns for their new team this season, Cooper or Adams. You're saying Cooper will be the more productive guy, yes?
I think he'll be more important to the Bills than Davante Adams will be to the Jets. But that, I don't know if I'm going to say more receiving yards and touchdowns. Maybe it's Davante Adams because he's going to be, I don't know, maybe he's better for Garrett Wilson. Maybe it just takes some of the heat off of coverage for Garrett Wilson. But I think the stats will go to Adams. What about you?
I think the Adams thing is going to work out well. I know people are like, it was a long time ago. Rodgers and Davante played together in Green Bay. I don't think that's going to matter. Rodgers has this rhythm with his guys. He missed all of last year. And picked it right back up with Allen Lazard, who is not nearly as skilled as Davante Adams. So, I mean, I think, look, the Bills will play deeper into the season than the Jets.
I think so too.
So Cooper has a greater impact overall.
Yeah.
But Allen has maybe more weapons that are mid-level under the radar. When you look at the two tight ends, they have Khalil Shakir as well. Rodgers is going to go with Wilson, Adams, and Lazard. These are the guys he trusts. These are the only guys he's going to throw the ball to. When these quarterbacks get old, they only throw the ball to guys they really, really trust, right?
Yeah.
Our guy John Conlon, who makes this show look good with our graphics, says this franchise is doomed unless Woody Johnson sells the team.
Maybe.
He might be right.
Maybe.
I mean, look at bad ownership around the league.
Makes a huge difference.
And you can put Jerry Jones into that category now.
Dan Snyder.
Yeah. Look.
The Jets.
The Bengals ownership, save for that one run to the Super Bowl, right? You get that feeling in Cincinnati as well that like, boy, once the Brown family sells this thing, it might be pretty ugly. Sam says Cooper will make him so much better. And Cooper is a guy, unlike Stephon Diggs, who, like, when is the last time
He's not a
you
me guy.
heard a comment from Amari Cooper
Yep.
or anything he said made a headline?
Right. He's a super teammate. And that's all. I mean, that's a dream in Buffalo. That's a dream in Buffalo for Josh Allen. A guy who's going to go out, not care how many times you target him necessarily, but it's going to be quite a few because he's going to be their top receiver. And he's going to be quiet about it.
And think about,
comes to work and does his
he must
job.
be looking at this situation like, I've been playing with arguably the worst starting quarterback in the league this year.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to a top 2 quarterback in the league. Mahomes and Allen, I would put him. Lamar Jackson's up there too. But you're Amari Cooper. It's like, I'm not saying a word the rest of this season. Like, I'm good however this plays out.
Gone from basically last to first in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like you're gone from no chance of making the playoffs to a real contender.
Yeah, Cooper played for Bama, which was basically the Patriots of college football for a long time.
There are plenty of people who played for Alabama who
talk now.
Yeah, can't shut their mouths.
Yeah, some of them for sure. Malik Neighbors did not play for Bama. He went to LSU, but it does sound like he's going to play for the Giants this week. Cleared concussion protocol. Thanks. And the Giants need him. How about this stat? 1. That's the number of touchdowns the Giants have scored at home this year. They get the Eagles at home this Sunday. I'm excited for this game. I'm always excited to watch Eagles-Giants. I'm especially excited because I don't think the Giants are as bad as they've looked at times this year. Eagles are struggling, but this is the safest bet. Entertainment purposes only. Don't send me bills in the mail that I've gotten this wrong. Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown. The Eagles are going to do everything they can.
They're going to throw it to him. They're going to hand it off to him. They're going to trick play for him. They're going to do it all.
He might return some punts.
Yeah.
I mean,
get out there and score.
They will do everything they can to get him into the end zone.
They should.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
The Eagles are best this season when he is playing well and when they're utilizing him because it opens everything else up. A lot of the games they've won, Saquon has 1 or more touchdowns. So it makes sense to feed him, but also to give him that, like, hey, you're coming home. Everybody wants that. That, like,
what's more Philadelphia than the head coach yelling at home fans after a victory?
I'm
there's nothing
throwing snowballs at Santa Claus.
There's nothing more Philadelphia than that. And now Nick Sirianni apologized. Like, I have to direct my energy in other ways. But the head coach, after a win, yelling at his home fans. Incredible.
What's he yelling at him?
I just didn't like the way they were, acting.
It's Philadelphia. Get used to it.
Yeah. Sam's calling for 3 touchdowns by Barkley.
Holy smokes.
I don't know.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
I'd be sad.
We'll make our picks in this game. We'll be in our picks, Giants, Eagles. Now, when we made our pick, Neighbors had not yet been cleared. Doesn't change your mind in any way. We'll find out.
I'm not sure. I can't remember who I picked.
Oh, this will be fun then.
We'll actually find out.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing here on the NFL before we make a little bit of a move to Major League Baseball. Yankees and Mets both in the LCS, which is a lot of fun, honestly. It sounds like Pittsburgh's going to Russell Wilson here. Now, at the beginning of the year, we heard Mike Tomlin say he doesn't believe players should lose their job to injury, and Wilson has been injured. But
I do believe that they can and should.
Oh, okay. But we didn't know at the beginning of the year that Russell Wilson was the clear-cut starter in Pittsburgh. We had the sense like, okay, they're going to start Wilson and then we'll see what happens. But it feels like all along Wilson was the guy. And so now that he's healthy enough to play, he's going to continue to be the guy. Justin Fields was 4-2. They're technically tied for first in the AFC North. And Fields kind of took the high road by saying there would be no quarterback controversy if I had played better. So obviously he's not pointing to the record. He's pointing to his overall production, which is not great.
Yeah. But
you have an issue with this? Is this going to backfire on Pittsburgh?
I sort of hope it does, but my guess is they don't let it go long. Like if they start Russell Wilson and he's one game horrific, I think you're going back to Justin Fields immediately. Like, I don't think it's a wait and see. Because the record speaks for itself. I know a lot of that was defense. It wasn't their offensive went out and won games, but they won games. They won 4. They were 4-2. They won 4 of their first 6 games. That's good enough to get you to the playoffs if that continues.
And they're a 4th down away at the end of the game against Dallas to being 5-1. And again, they have not done this in pretty fashion.
Nope.
And their wins aren't over impressive teams or opposing quarterbacks. I get that, but 4-2 is 4-2, and a play away from 5-1. Like,
yeah, I've said I think Justin Fields gives them the best chance to win. Maybe I'll eat my words next week or the week after or the week after that. I'm not really sure, but I think he needs to be given a real chance because I think he's got some talent.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're back in a minute here on Onorato and Miller. Aaron Judge has hit a home run in these playoffs.
No.
It's almost a miracle. It feels strange saying that. Yankees-Mets or Yankees-Dodgers? What's the better World Series for Major League
You're
Baseball?
You're going to jinx this thing.
We're back in a minute.
Fall in love with camping all over again with a new RV from Alpenhaus. As our attention turns to changing leaves and tailgate parties, be sure to stop by Alpenhaus to find the perfect RV for your fall camping trips. You'll love this Coachman Catalina for only $131 a month. And check out this Keystone Cougar Sport for only $358 a month. Whether you're snowbirds heading south or leaf peeping through New England, our outfitters will make sure you have everything you need for your autumn adventure. Shop online at alpenhausrv.com or come see us in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
We do the show live on a Thursday every single week. Well, except for the next couple of weeks. We'll get to that. Normally, we do the show live on a Thursday. My point is, if you're watching the show on TV, we've already done the show middle of the week.
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday is our sweet spot every single week. And so some of this information will change, but we'll talk a little bit of baseball here because it would be strange to ignore it just because we're tape delayed, if you will, on TV. Okay, so Yankees, as we sit here on a Thursday, have a 2-0 series lead playing currently Game 3 in Cleveland. The Mets and the Dodgers, that's 2-1 in LA's favor, playing again Game 4 on Thursday night. Yeah. What is the better matchup for Major League Baseball? Yankees-Mets or Yankees-Dodgers? Because Cleveland, as part of the equation, is a loss for everybody. Yeah. Other than the diehard baseball fans, like, I would be interested to see, like, hey, can Cleveland end this drought where they haven't won since like 1948 or something weird like that? I forget what the date is. It's maybe not that long ago, but when they lost to the Cubs in whatever year that was, 16 or 16, it had been 40 something years. So that's an interesting angle if you really love baseball. But if you're just a fan of, on the periphery a little bit, like, what's the better matchup here? New York, LA.
MLB wants New York, LA because you'd have the top 2 markets. And I think you have Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, which is exactly what MLB would have asked for at the beginning of the year. Okay. I think that my mom is right. And I think a Subway Series would be absolutely incredible because so many people are talking about the Mets right now and how hot of a team they are. Obviously, the ratings outside of New York maybe wouldn't be all that good, but I think a Subway Series would be awesome. And now the Yankees aren't going to get there because we've assumed.
Look, a Subway Series would be awesome. Sam's saying, Yankees Dodgers better than, I don't know. I don't know that that's true, that no one outside of New York would watch the Subway Series. People
listen, nobody watched last year.
Oh goodness, no.
Nobody. So more people would watch this year.
And Sam is underestimating the number of people who decide to waste time in their life watching things just to root against something. So you will have a number of people watch just to hope
root.
the Yankees lose,
Yeah.
as opposed to rooting for the Dodgers or the Mets to win.
Yep.
So I think as long as the Yankees are in, ratings will be good. Yankees are a brand like Notre Dame, like the Dallas Cowboys.
People love to hate.
Lakers and Celtics in there too, right? They're not as hateable as Notre Dame and the Cowboys, but yes, people will watch simply to root against the Dodgers.
Think about the teams
the Yankees. Go ahead.
Yankees, Notre Dame, Cowboys.
Haven't won in forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
They have one thing in common. Haven't won in forever. Who cares?
Which says a lot about a couple of things here. The amount of attention these franchises get, which people will say are unwarranted, which is not true because the ratings still speak for themselves.
But
I think it says more about.
I don't like them because they win all the time.
Well,
but they don't.
Yeah, well, I think now people don't like these teams because of the attention they get, and they don't win. Yeah, right. Like all we do is talk about the Cowboys, and they don't win. We're not even going to talk about the Cowboys today. The attention that these teams, franchises get without actually winning, I think that now bothers fans more than the fact that they just haven't. I don't know, or that they used to win all the time. Yeah,
I think it bothers. Like I think our generation likes to still root against those teams because those were the teams that won all the time. If you're not a fan of the Cowboys or the Yankees or Notre Dame, people in our generation enjoy rooting against those teams.
Yes. Now
I'm not sure that the younger generation.
No, now people like to see the Patriots lose.
Right. I like to see the Patriots lose.
Yeah, I know you do.
But I mean, the younger generation, like they have no real reason to root against the Yankees, the Cowboys, Notre Dame. They haven't won in their lifetimes.
Right. Haven't seen it.
Haven't even really been all that great.
No. I mean, Notre Dame made the college football playoff when it was a 4-teamer twice, right? Maybe 3 times.
Got whacked. Most of them.
Made it to the championship game. Bama rolled them. Clemson got them really good one year as well in the college football playoff. And then there might have been a third time in there. If there wasn't, then there wasn't. And although the Yankees are typically in the postseason, like they don't reach the ALCS a ton.
I mean, even when they do, they get beat by the Astros
oh
or whoever.
And even for the Dodgers' success, like I don't know, maybe it's just the money that bothers fans. Like look at the Mets, Dodgers, and Yankees. I mean, 3 franchises that spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Doesn't always get you there.
Here they are.
I know. But the Dodgers were there, the Royals were there, the Tigers were there, the Royals were there. Those are teams that spend absolutely nothing and still got to the DS. But yeah, you're right.
Even you look at Cleveland's payroll and go, who's on this team? Jose Ramirez. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sam, I'll be at Raymore and Flanagan Saturday from 10 to 1.
Tell the people.
Raising some awareness for breast cancer research and treatment and money.
Raising money.
Okay. If you show up and you don't give any money, you're out.
Come see us.
Yeah. Come say hello. Be happy to talk to you for a little bit. But yeah, it'll be like working. So I won't be able to really hang out. It'll be like working,
well, as long as you're
for
paying
a good,
money,
good cause.
Like you put money in the bin, you get 10 minutes to talk. Like it's like pay to talk to Chris.
Boy, nobody's paying to talk to Chris.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
All right, Ash, shout out to Bill Miller for always supporting this segment. This one took me by surprise. Performance Industrial's Dirty, Difficult, Done. There's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult for Bill and his crew to get it done. Epoxy flooring, industrial cleaning. They do all the big jobs. Tony Bennett
I thought I read this wrong when it came through.
As head coach at Virginia. He's going to retire immediately. We're a month away from the season tipping off. Inside of the month, honestly, for a lot of these schools. And he's, are we going to try to speculate now? It's Thursday night as we're doing this. Bennett is going to make the announcement formally on Friday. So we might have some answers as to the why.
Right.
But we can tell you he's 55 years old. people have speculated about him being the next guy to kind of surprise us and leave the sport before we thought he would, a la Jay Wright. And when Bennett was asked about that in June, I think at Media Day, he said, similarly to Jay, I have to decide if this is really what I want to continue to do. And we have to remember the landscape of college sports is changing so dramatically. Do these guys want to continue to chase players in the portal, worry about NIL, and on top of that, continue to recruit their own players every single year, I'll say, but it becomes every single game. Am I getting enough playing time, or am I going to immediately start thinking about leaving? These are all sorts of things that coaches are now dealing with that they never had to think about before. And so just imagine, even at 55, young guy in the coaching world, to walk away. There has to be some of that to it. And I know we can speculate about maybe beyond the game, but
and I don't know. My thing is, he doesn't feel like the type of guy who is going to hurt his team by waiting this long, unless he has to, or unless there is a plan in place. So
I see the timing.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a month before the season. You're hurting your team by walking away if you're just deciding like, it isn't for me. But you've gone through all of preseason. You've gotten these guys in. Now there's a chance if they came here for you that they're going to go. So I don't really understand. If it's not health related or family related or something, it feels kind of bad, like a kind of bad move that you wouldn't expect Tony Bennett to make.
Would you rather him know now, boy, my heart isn't in this thing, and I'm not going to enjoy coaching another full year, and I really should just retire and go now?
No, I'd rather him stick it out.
You'd rather him not give 100%, right? Like, not fully be there, not be as emotionally invested, be wondering, boy, should I have walked away sooner? You know what I mean? It's like a guy in the NFL who gets to training camp and it's, middle of August now, and he's gone through summer camp and he decides I don't want to go through this for another year. And he retires. And the team is kind of left holding the bag like, whoa, we were counting on you to. Now, this is a coach, so you'd have to make it almost like the quarterback decides to retire. But
I needed you to decide earlier.
I know.
Or stick it out and give 100%. Like, you've done this your whole life. This is how this works. If it's not, like I said, if it's not health related, if it's not necessary, you got to stick it out and you got to do it for one more year and give them the opportunity to figure out what's next, who's coming in behind you, how the whole scenario works.
So they won the title. Everyone will famously remember they win the title the year after they become the first 1 seed to ever lose to a 16. And what I will always remember about Tony Bennett is how great he was in that post-game press conference after losing to UMBC. He was incredibly gracious in that loss. Yes, so historic. Like, you figured, oh my gosh, UVA is going to be remembered as the only 1 seed to lose to a 16 ever. Well, then it happened a couple years later, a few years later. But this jumped out to me. While he's a national champion 2019, while he won National Coach of the Year twice, 10 NCAA tournament appearances under Bennett at UVA, they haven't won a tournament game since they won it all in 19. So remember, COVID, no tournament in 2020, but they didn't win in 21, 22, 23. That feels like it's 3 years.
And they've been in it.
But it feels like a long time for such a high-ranked program.
They've underachieved out of the national championships.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of them. It's happened to Cuse plenty of times.
I'm sad to see him go. I think he's a terrific coach. I think he's seems to be an even better person.
Can you imagine him and Jay on TV together?
Oh,
that would be so great.
Bennett's going to be a media star.
Yeah, if that's what he wants.
If that's what he wants.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow, Saturday, Friday.
I don't know. What day is it?
Yeah.
Saratoga. Raymore and Flanagan in Saratoga.
Saratoga.
Yeah, exactly. From 10 to 1, Saturday morning, afternoon. We got a jam-packed weekend. All right.
Rockman's rooting for the Guardians.
That doesn't surprise you, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to do it to make him happy. Okay. So Frank likes to root against Ashley's teams, which is fun.
All of them.
It is fun.
Every single one.
It makes Ashley very, very frustrated. But I get a little bit of a chuckle out of it. And then Frank sometimes will root for my teams, but he's quick to turn on them when they aren't good.
Also to frustrate me.
Yeah, right. He's quick to turn on them when they aren't very good. ESPN has a panel of reporters and analysts that put together the top 100 NBA players for the upcoming season. They've done it for a few years now. And that list is out. We have the top 10, and I wonder if any of them will surprise Ashley. And I have a little bit of an NFL trivia question for Ash as well. We'll talk about a great college football Saturday coming up. Small in greatness.
But mighty.
Yes, there it is. Good. I'll just go to commercial and stop talking. We're back in a minute.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Okay, I had a trivia question teed up for Ashley.
You don't have to use mine, though.
Has a question teed up for me. I don't. I'll put it up here on the screen in a second. We'll get to it. Which division in the NFL has a combined record of 17-5 going into Week 7?
I'm going to take a guess on this going off of, I'm going to say the NFC North because of the Vikings.
So there are only two
Pack
undefeated teams
good.
left, Vikings and Chiefs.
Yep. And that division, their division, I don't think is as good as the NFC North. So I'm going to go NFC North because I think as a whole, Vikings, Lions, Packers, that adds up to a lot of wins.
Vikings are 5-0. Lions are 4-1. Packers and Bears are both 4-2. It's record-wise clear and away the best division in the NFL going right now. And I get we're only 6 weeks into this thing. But any number of those teams could make the playoffs, and I don't think anyone should be surprised.
Yeah.
It's not what Chicago. I don't think Chicago's playing right now.
I'd be a little surprised if, but yeah.
So here's my question. I mean, Caleb Williams, the last 3 weeks, Bears are 3-0. He's playing efficient football. He's running it a little bit now too. Do you expect him? Jaden Daniels was the best rookie quarterback in the first 4 or 5 weeks. Williams had 4 touchdown passes in London against a bad Jaguars team. Would you think Williams will be the best rookie quarterback the rest of the way?
No, because we just talked about how good that division is. At some point, he's going to play all of these teams multiple times. Jaden Daniels is going to play the Giants and the Cowboys and the Eagles, which is a much weaker division than the NFC North.
So how about this? Chicago has a bye this week. There's only been one. I always mess this up, so correct me. There has only been one intra-division game so far in the NFC North, and that was the Packers loss to the Vikings. That's right, because interstates cross state lines. So intra-division, like an intra-squad scrimmage is the within your team.
Yeah.
So there's only been one intra-division game so far. So you're right. Williams is going to have to play the Lions twice, going to play the Packers twice, going to have to play the Vikings twice.
And maybe I'll be wrong, but I will be shocked if it's like he's putting up these numbers against those teams.
Yeah. Sam was right. Your dad was right.
Oh.
Everybody had the NFC North. Good on y'all.
But I didn't have the internet.
Who has the NFL's best offense? How do you mean?
I don't know. And that's how I said don't use the question.
Oh, all right.
But if you were going to guess, my guess is it's yards and touchdowns, but I don't know the answer to. I don't know if that's what it.
All right. Well, let's play this game anyway. Okay.
and I'll tell you the answer, and then you tell me if you think it's total yards. I would imagine total yards and touchdowns, but
All right, are we doing scoring?
I don't know. You want me to look it up?
Go ahead, and I'll sit here and think. This is
Talk
good,
it out.
This is good TV.
I was surprised,
Now,
and I'm not sure why I
Detroit's
was
only
surprised.
played 5 games, so it's probably not them, but they are very, very good. You know who has scored a lot of points and
Who?
probably racked up a lot of yards? Washington.
That's not the answer.
It's definitely not Buffalo. It's not Houston. Again, points or yards matter here in terms of qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
The people are guessing.
What do we got?
Yeah, Sam was on the Commanders too.
No.
They've scored a lot of points, and they've looked really good at times. I don't know. Who's your answer? And maybe we can figure this thing out together.
Baltimore.
Derrick Henry's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's been
But-
so good.
And I was reading an article. If
So good.
you extrapolate, I think is the word
Uh-huh.
that I need to use.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson's numbers from now through the rest of the season, he will surpass all of his numbers from last year. He won MVP last
So
year.
Baltimore's already as a franchise, already calling it MV3, that he would win his 3rd MVP this year.
They're 4-2.
Yeah. Who's better than Lamar? Mahomes. And people get, I get the numbers for Mahomes are not going to, but
Like eye popping. Yeah.
Mahomes is the best. And again, there's a distinction between most valuable and the best. Football with breakfast. Don't do it because you won't be able to keep your breakfast down.
Don't do it as right.
This is 1 in 5 versus 1 in 5. Why? I mean, why do we do this to the poor people? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we won the Revolutionary War. That's why.
And we also don't want it. We don't want it here, so take it over there. But for me, I love nothing more than 9:30 a.m. football. I have zero interest in watching that game.
Yeah.
Zero. Not a single bit. I'm going to go to breakfast with some friends and not watch football.
Yeah. I know. It's bad. It's bad football.
And I mean, they love the Jags over there. We talked about it last week because the Jags are like their faux team. They've been exiled to London more times than you can count. Overseas.
Yeah. Well, the owner wants it, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But it's bad football on both counts. And maybe that'll be good football because it's 2 bad teams.
No, that's not. No, it could be close football.
Well, that's what I
Doesn't
mean.
good
But
football.
maybe the Londoners won't know the difference.
Would you take any of these sub 500 teams today to make the playoffs
The Jets.
over the Bengals?
Yeah,
Or over
the
other-
Bengals just can't see. They can't seem to get out of their own way. Listen, the Giants basically handed them that game, and they still didn't want to take it. That was a terrible game. Offensively, no one could do anything. Both teams' defenses were decent, but yeah, I'm not jumping on the Bengals, despite all of the bad starts that they've had in the last 2 or 3 years with Joe Burrow. I'm not jumping on. I'm not saying that they're going to turn this thing around this year because it just doesn't feel like it. So I'm going to say the Jets because of Davante Adams and maybe him being able to make a difference.
Okay.
And it's Aaron Rodgers.
The Bengals play the Browns this week. If they can't win that one,
it's over. OVER over.
We have real problems.
I mean, the Amari Cooper-less bad. Are they 1 in 5?
They are
1 in 5 Browns.
Yeah.
If the Bengals can't win that, it is not happening at any point this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think I would take the Jets here too, Ash. I'm looking to see what
the odds are.
Well, I want to see what the playoff odds are here on the Bengals to make the playoffs.
This is exciting. Live betting.
Plus 106. That's not
that good.
The Jets are plus 136.
Ooh.
So Vegas says
the Bengals.
Yeah, and I think the division has something to do with that, right? New England obviously stinks in the AFC East, but Cleveland's bad, and there's probably the calculation for a little Pittsburgh regression as well in here, and that Cincinnati picks it up. But I think I'm going to say the Bengals here to be different, but I think the Jets make the playoffs. How about that?
Because the Dolphins aren't going to do it without Tua. So.
But you're just talking about the list here.
And I know, but I mean, Dolphins, Patriots in their own division are not going to cut it. So I think they have the ability to be pretty good in that division outside of the Bills. So even if the Bills win the division, I think the Jets can still get in.
Yeah. Okay. That NBA top 10, want to get Ash's opinion on how it's ranked. Did ESPN's group of analysts and reporters get it right with the number one guy, or just overall? To me, there's a big miss. And
let's see if I can guess it.
And if you know me, you do, you might be surprised at the love I would show towards this guy.
Oh.
We're back in a minute.
Skitoberfest is back at Alpenhaus, and this year it's gonna be epic. Bring the crew out to Alpenhaus Ski Shop October 17th through 19th as we kick off ski season. We're talking food, craft beer, giveaways, and live music. Not to mention some of the best deals of the year on ski and snowboard equipment and apparel. And this year we're celebrating 60 years, so we're throwing it back with retro pricing on ski tuning. Get your setup dialed in at prices that'll take you back to 1964. It's Skitoberfest in Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and now High Adventure in Latham. Alpenhaus, run by skiers and riders for 60 years.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus and Bevs and Marcella's and Performance Industrial and Novice as well, keeping us going here, and we appreciate the support as always. All right, Ash. So again, ESPN has this thing called NBA Rank, and they basically, it's almost like they're 1,500 players, and they say, would you take this guy or this guy, this guy or this guy, this guy, and that's how they whittle it down to a point system that. Writers, reporters, analysts. Yep. And so here's the top 10. So we'll keep this up on the screen for you to be able to digest all the numbers and names here. Mm-hmm. Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Embiid, LeBron, Steph, Tatum, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Jokic. Where'd they get it right? Where'd they get it wrong? This is the best player who these people think will be the best player this upcoming season. Jokic has 3 MVP awards. Mm-hmm. A 4th would put him in very exclusive company. Kareem, MJ, LeBron, and there's a 4th, and I forget if it's Russell or Wilt, but either way, only 4 guys have done it. Nikola could become the 5th.
Prisoner of the moment, maybe, but Tatum's not high enough for me.
Okay.
I might put him up to like 3, as high as 3. For me, there's just not enough like star power in the top 2. And I get they're stars in their own ways, but they're always like kind of quiet about it. And maybe it's the markets they play in.
Maybe it's the European.
Yeah, the European mojo. SGA might be a little bit high for me too. I think I would knock him down to like 8. I don't love Embiid. I don't think he's like a game-changing guy. Steph, I think, also has he plays for a team that's just not very good. He's good, but a team that's not very good. I need Anthony Edwards up. Ooh. Anthony Edwards is one of the best players on the planet right now.
Okay.
But you're saying there's someone glaring left off this list.
Yes. No, not left off the list.
Oh.
Not high enough on the list.
Oh. His name's LeBron James.
Yes. Yes. The guy is only getting better. If you look at his numbers as he goes into year 41 or 2 of his life, well, year 40, he's become a better three-point shooter. Mm-hmm. His numbers are still triple-double level. I don't know. Again, I think it's maybe just like greatness fatigue. And I am not
You're not a LeBron guy.
team LeBron as the GOAT of all GOATs. But to say he's the 7th best player in the NBA for this upcoming season is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
It's ridiculous. Look at what he just did in Paris.
Mhm.
The way LeBron and Steph played on the world's biggest stage. Anthony Edwards couldn't get on the floor. Embiid was really good too, but they kept some other really good players. Tatum didn't play.
Yeah. And listen, I think people are going to argue, look what Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum did for their NBA
I
teams.
get it.
They're playing again, and no offense, but those guys weren't playing against the best best teams in the world. They were playing West. Yes, correct. And that's the difference. I think people are more impressed by what they do on their NBA teams than what they do on that international stage, because you're playing against Luka and 4 other nobodies or Nikola and 4 other nobodies for the most part.
And I think Tatum is primed to win the MVP this year, honestly. Look, but they don't win the title without Jaylen Brown.
I agree.
And
I think you could talk about him being, 10th on here. But I agree. I think LeBron's star power and his ability, like his name is he's always going to be LeBron, but he's a top 5 player in the league, and he's probably 4 or 3.
Yes. Again, we're not talking about pick a player for the next 5 years.
Right. For this year.
I'm talking about pick a player for the next 200 some days.
Mm-hmm. And he'll be motivated. This is what he does.
No doubt about it.
Unless he's going to be giving up points to his son. Hey, Bronny, take this.
Only if he's going to play in the G League is he giving up points to his son, because that's not going to – that will be – right, opening night, Bronny has to be on the Lakers roster, right? Don't we have to play the game here as a league and as a franchise? You have to say, okay, opening night, Bronny and LeBron, you're going to get some minutes together. If you connect on an assist and a bucket, awesome. You will share the floor at some point. Bronny will then go to the G League. And maybe he comes up at different points throughout the season, but there's no way he's going to be a permanent 12-man member. There's no way. You know me. I've said that he has no business. You've been on that for a long time. I was surprised. Being in the NBA. Yeah. Nick, big Mavericks guy. Luka MVP. Could be. That's a Cincinnati thing. Yeah, but he's a Mavs guy too. That's some weird teams. Yeah, it's nice to have Nick. Where does that come from? Back with us here. He was, when we did it at 10 a.m. Always with us. Nick was always able to join us. It's a little tougher for people sometimes around dinner time, and tougher for me. And we certainly get that. Tougher for me trying to stay awake. Yeah, that's true. College football on Saturday. Not a ton of good games. No, but some very good ones here. Let's go to the end of the list here, because that's a noon kickoff on Fox. Nebraska and Indiana. Like all of a sudden, I mean, when they jumped into the rankings, I was like, Indiana? Yeah. They're 6-0, and Nebraska's 5-1. This is a fun one. Raiola's playing really well for the Cornhuskers, and it looks like Matt Rule is getting that thing pointed in the right direction. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't name you a single player on Indiana. No, me neither. Not a single one. No, me neither. And they're the 16th ranked team in the country. Yeah. Is dang, Tom Allen still the head coach there? Isn't that his name? You want me to look him up? Yeah. Probably. So sounds right. I won't see any college football until the night game, Georgia-Texas on Saturday with stuff going on. But I would be locked in for Nebraska, Indiana, because I'm just kind of interested here. We keep talking
Former
about
JMU coach, right?
Yeah, okay.
Kurt
yeah,
Signetti. Yep. It's no wonder they're good.
So we keep talking about, the Big Ten. How many teams is the Big Ten going to get into the playoff? And we throw out Ohio State and Michigan and Illinois is ranked. And obviously you have Oregon, and people thought USC would be something. They aren't. Penn State still hasn't lost a game. Here's Indiana and Nebraska. 2 teams that could really kind of throw things off a little bit. That's a fun one at noon. Alabama, Tennessee at 3:30. And this has me now thinking, with Bama and Tennessee, both teams with 1 loss, someone will leave this game with 2 losses. How many teams around the country can make the playoffs with 2 losses? Like, how many teams have the cachet and the resume and the strength of schedule and all of that to suffer 2 losses and still get in? Like, Bama loses at Vanderbilt. Yeah, and I know Vandy's,
and that's a bad one.
I know Vandy's
that's
not bad now, right? They just beat
Different-
Kentucky last week.
I know, but different if you're Alabama and you lose to Georgia and Texas
course.
than Alabama losing to Vandy.
Yep.
Like that just looks, I think there will be a significant amount of weight put into who are those losses to. If you're playing the SEC, but you've lost to Vanderbilt, not going to be so good. If you're losing to Texas, okay, maybe we'll put you in.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the game I'll be able to watch is Georgia, Texas at 7:30. Nick is on Hook 'em Horns here.
Hook 'em.
I've been high on Texas all year long. Victor's an Ohio State guy. Buckeyes, despite the loss at Oregon, had the Ducks.
That was a good one.
They're right there. I mean, Ohio State, I think, is still as good as almost any team in the country. And I've been high on Texas from the start. But as I've said to a few people now, this could be a game where we watch and Georgia wins and we say, oh, that's what an SEC program looks like. That's what a program looks like that has been part of the SEC and building its team for SEC competition for years and years and years, as opposed to a Big 12 team now new to the SEC. I don't know, but it's possible that we come away from that game and say,
You think we're going to get
"Ooh, Georgia has
an upset."
athletes, like athletes all over the field, and maybe Texas is still a little bit. No, I think Texas wins because I like them. I've liked them all year.
So what the heck are you
I'm going to
talking
stick with
about?
them. But if they don't,
Oh, It's
we
because
might
Georgia
all
has
we might all
athletes.
go, oh, that's the difference between the SEC and the Big 12.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody respected the Big 12.
no.
So
No defense, all offense.
So
But-
are we too bought in on Texas this year? Is all I'm saying. I don't know.
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Those games, awesome.
Ohio State fan, 46 years, all his life.
Wow.
Upstate New York guy.
There are a
Picking them to win the
shocking
title.
number of Ohio State fans in this area and Michigan fans, to be quite honest. Not enough Syracuse fans.
Well, there's a reason for that. Yeah.
Hey,
I asked the question last week whether or not Syracuse should be ranked,
and
and I was resoundingly pushed aside.
resoundingly,
Resoundingly.
yeah. I think I don't know. They got to run the table, and then a lot of other things have to happen, but they still won't deserve to be anywhere talking about anything. I mean, maybe the ACC championship game, get a win over. They can beat Pitt and then get a win over a good team.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Well,
but
Miami, end of the year.
Yeah.
We've got our week 7 picks here still to come. Tom Coughlin. So I'm only bringing this up because this struck me as very interesting.
okay,
Ash and I laugh at the number of players. It's so different when you compare Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame to pro football. It's not the NFL Hall of Fame. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the
because of the
Basketball
ABA
Hall of Fame.
and the CBA and the
WNBA.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's college too, right? Like,
but there's a college football Hall of Fame.
right. But what I'm saying is college coaches go into
Oh, I
the
got you.
Basketball Hall of
Oh,
Fame.
I understand.
So, I mean, the number of people who get inducted into football and basketball compared to baseball is so dramatically different. And I figured, like, well, it must be easy for coaches to get in then too. It isn't. This is crazy. The process is crazy. I don't have it all in front of me, but this is basically how it happens.
Tell me.
You now have currently 12 head coaching candidates eligible for induction this upcoming
Are
term.
they all first time? Or
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. Like Seifert's been on forever. Holmgren, Shanahan, all these guys have been on more than one time on the ballot. They go 12 to 9. Then a committee decides one guy, one
No wonder they're all not in.
becomes the inductee or even just eligible, I believe, for induction.
Boy, that's rough.
It seems so easy to put players in because
Everybody gets in.
unlike baseball, when nobody can go in, right? You have years where nobody gets elected to the Hall of Fame. In football, Pro Football Hall of Fame, I think the minimum is 7. But
Everybody.
coaches don't have an easy road in, which is just strange to me.
Yeah, that's kind of weird that they're treated like that much.
Coughlin, Shanahan, and Seifert have all won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
If you had a quarterback with 2 rings, he's automatically in. You're telling me the coach doesn't go? Holmgren has 1 ring with Green Bay. He got Seattle there as a head coach and GM years later. I just thought that was interesting. Difficult for coaches to get in. But,
yeah, I don't understand why it's different.
But okay. Yeah.
Just make them one of the inductees. Like, why do we separate everyone out? I don't know. Like, there shouldn't be a given number of spots that can get in. I like how baseball does it, and a percentage of voters has to vote for you, and you're in. If a percentage of voters votes for 9 guys or whatever it is, 75%, you're in. That could be coach, player, it doesn't matter. And they have weird committees and
Nick
all the
says
things.
Arkansas is going to run the table with 2 losses and get in. They play
Holy
LSU
smokes.
this weekend. So, okay. That's at Arkansas.
That would be something.
So that's an interesting one. And Victor's calling for Ohio State to beat Texas. That'll be a fun one too, weeks down the road. All right, final time out of the show here. Our Week 7 NFL picks coming up. I said it at the beginning of the show. It's getting better. Still not great.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, home stretch of the show here, and it takes us to our Week 7 picks in the NFL. This is what Week 6 looked like, and we did okay. We were only different in 1 game.
Then you won that one.
Correct. Okay. So our records, 4-1 last week, 3-2 last week, back to 500 and hovering right at it. So again, not awful, not great.
Not great. 4-1's great.
Well, that's a nice week, but considering I was 12-15, I needed it. All right, let's go through the games here, Ash. There are a bunch of 1 o'clock games that I'm really interested in here. And we've got Eagles-Giants, 1 o'clock. I've already said at the beginning of the show how much I'm looking forward to this game. I think it'll be competitive, and I just want to see the Saquon Barkley show back at the Meadowlands. We both like the Eagles here to win by at least a field goal. Giants can't score at home, but Malik Neighbors looks like he's going to play. I mean, 1 touchdown. This team has 1 touchdown in their home games.
Not giving the fans much to cheer about.
But Philly is as scattered and disjointed, it feels, as ever. I'm banking on Barkley here, that he just has a monster game. And the Giants are banged up. I mean, they're just...
Tracy's coming around, though. He's been a good running back for them. He's been fun. They've used him in the pass game a little bit, too. A little bit surprising, but you never know. I picked the Giants when they didn't have Neighbors, and now I'm not picking them when they do. So makes a lot of sense.
They're a team that's tough to figure out. You've had them the last couple of weeks, and it worked out in Seattle for you.
Yeah, it did.
Titans and Bills.
This number I didn't love. Whenever you get over a touchdown, it makes me cringe, but the Titans aren't very good.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Their
Amari
offense
Cooper,
is so
he gonna
bad.
play?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Davante Adams is going to play too. Davante Adams.
Yeah, I knew that.
We'll get to the to the Jets.
I know this
right?
is so funny. Yeah,
okay. We'll put a pin on that one.
But Cooper's going to play. Yeah. It's in Buffalo. The Bills have burned me more than any team on this show, probably. Yeah. But that was last year. They haven't done me too wrong this year. We'll go with it. If they don't get this done, I'm never picking them again.
Okay.
Done. I don't care what my record looks like. Never picking them again.
Okay. It's a big number.
And I'll see what the
8.5
consequences
for
are that
me.
I suffer.
NFL. This is another 1:00 game. And look, I'm not saying Bills Titans is a must watch. It's not.
Yeah.
We'll check in on it to see how Amari Cooper is fitting in. But this is another 1:00 game here of great interest. Lions, Vikings.
I can't believe we both picked the Lions.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, the way that team is playing, they're both playing very well. But
It feels like Vegas is duping us here a little bit too with a 2.5 number. Like, I don't know. I'm starting to get a sense that it's going to be Minnesota, but Detroit is so low. Now the Hutchinson injury, let's see what happens, right?
Yep.
But that offense in Detroit is unbelievable. The number of weapons Jared Goff has, and he's playing so well that I just feel like Detroit finds a way to go in there and win. And again, how many times have I said on the show? It's going to end at some point for the Vikings.
I know.
So how about now?
I think last week I said I'm just going to pick the Vikings until they don't get it done. I did not do that. I did not follow my own advice. Yeah. So
well,
if I
remember
don't
the Bills thing,
if I don't win this, I'll abide by it. It might not be good for me, but I'll abide by it. This, if the Vikings win, I'm going to be upset at myself for not listening to myself.
Yeah. Okay. Texans and Packers, another 1:00 game that should be awesome.
Sorry, I picked against you.
That's okay. You're choosing what you think is going to happen here. I 5-1 Houston, 4-2 Green Bay. Jordan Love looks back to real health. Green Bay at home.
I know.
Give me the Packers at home here. And offensively, Love can spread it around. They run the ball so well also this year.
Hope it's not cold.
Shouldn't be.
It'll be ugly.
Shouldn't be that bad.
Okay.
This is good.
I'm interested.
This is a great game.
Yeah, I'm into this. Quad box.
Thank goodness for the quad box. Chiefs and Niners, the game that everybody gets at 425. And again, this number jumped out to our buddy Greg, said, am I missing something here? Niners are favored? Yeah, Niners are favored. -1.5.
Yeah. So you pick the
Chiefs.
Chiefs to win, but I can't really figure out the Niners. Haven't been able to quite pinpoint what they're doing this year.
Until they're fully healthy, right? Do we have a good read on that?
They're not going to be fully healthy maybe this year.
Yeah.
So
feels like the Chiefs need to make a move, don't they? I mean, Adams,
separate themselves.
Cooper,
yeah, other teams are trying.
Got to get in on a receiver, it feels like, with Rashee Rice out for a little bit. Okay, Jets and Steelers. Now, this number in Vegas has moved to 2.5 in New York's favor, and I'm taking the Jets here because I just don't like Russell Wilson.
Sure.
So
I didn't know he was starting at the time.
I'm going to take New York here to get a little bit of a boost from Davante Adams, and Rodgers has his whole family back together now, and he's got to play well. What was my soapbox?
The hamstring.
Oh, so Adams, he's going to play Sunday night. He missed the last 3 games with Vegas because of a hamstring injury. Now, I had texted Ashley when the Jets made this trade. The Jets just gave up a 3rd-round pick, which could be a 2nd-round pick. It won't be based on the conditions. For a guy who was never going to play for the Raiders ever again, he was going to continue to say, I'm injured, I can't play. I'm injured, I can't play. Here's what the week looks like.
Didn't want to play. Wasn't injured.
We're different in a couple of games here. I like the Packers. You like the Texans. I like the Jets. You like the Steelers. All right. Boy, this was a good show.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all the football that is out there.